Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 35 of the African Do podcast. Today, we are delving into the world of offices and real estate with Ian Kabiru of Horizon Offices. Ian, welcome to the African Do podcast.
Thank you, Leonard.
Yes. So, Ian, in this market where it has been very traditional historically, I'm a landlord or I'm a tenant or I own, and I live in my own place. You come up with a concept to rent out office space, on a need basis, not on a monthly basis, but on a need basis, short term, long term. And you've now been doing this for 17 years.
Right.
So how do you find yourself in this space? How do you end up there? What's your background? And how do you eventually end up setting up Horizon Offices?
I think the simple answer to that question is I was solving my own problem.
Okay.
So before I give you a little bit about my background, I found myself as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I don't know whether it was by design or whether it's just the way the circumstances played out. And one of the biggest obstacles entrepreneurs have is, you have to have a place to operate for anybody to take you seriously. So I had been through 2 failed businesses.
Yes.
Very painful. It's hard enough failing in business, but then when the landlord comes and says, can you come and remove these things?
Take your things. I want my space.
I want my space back. And you find yourself paying to remove them.
Yes.
Paying to dispose of them. I realized that, that was a problem. And it wasn't a problem unique to me. So I was solving my own problem. So if I could maybe just circle back. So I started off in corporate.
Yes.
I worked for a multinational. I was making some of these popular household goods. I won't go too much into that. And I never really thought of myself as anything else than sort of a good corporate guy.
Yeah.
But then I think what happens as you go through the sort of the journey of working in a company, I guess the routine was something I didn't quite enjoy, and actually I found that I was very, very, very separated from the business, the real business, so to speak. So in our company, for example, we never really used to be told how much money the company was making. We used to be measured by the volume of goods that we were selling. So for me, I felt that was a bit disconnected, and I always had this sort of yearning to maybe interact, more on the front end, where you are interacting with customers, you're getting them to pay, you're seeing where the money is going. But actually, I have to say the motivation for leaving corporate and going into business, to some extent, was from my parents, my mother in particular.
Yes.
Who was self-employed.
Yes.
And, when the opportunity presented itself, and they say, so you're either pushed or you're pulled.
Yes.
I think for me, it was more of a pull. And when the opportunity to get into business came about, it wasn't with offices to begin with.
Yes.
I was, I've done a few things.
Yes.
I had an opportunity to work with a group of friends, and we set up a small telco.
Yes.
It's a company called Popote Wireless. Some of you may remember it. You in business, you kind of have to be a little bit foolish sometimes. You have to be oblivious to the dangers ahead.
What you're going into. Otherwise, you might not go.
You would start.
Yeah.
But we were young, and we were very. I guess we had a lot of self-belief. I think maybe that's what it was. In our abilities. So, and then we were a group of us. So, there's safety in numbers. So we forged ahead. That business had, I think, mixed fortunes. We did very well, but we also found ourselves as a small fish in a very big pond.
Yep.
Competing with the likes of Safaricom. There's some businesses that are not for small people. So
yes, and small capital.
And small capital.
Yeah.
But that was an important learning. And sort of by default from that, because what we were doing is we were selling internet, and I was responsible for running these business centers through which we created what we called experience, an internet experience.
Yes.
It was sort of like a glorified cyber cafe. If you think about it that way. And we had a lot of guys coming in. In fact, there's one month I counted about 15,000 customers coming through.
Wow.
And I used to see the same faces. And I'd ask these guys, "Where's your office?"
Yeah.
And they said, "But this is our office." So I realized that there was a need, but it wasn't profitable.
Yes.
So I knew, there's different models to serve the same need. So when I did my research, I realized that there was something called a serviced office, or they called it virtual offices in those days. And I realized there was a gap in the market. I think there were some global players in the market at that time in Kenya.
Okay.
But they were charging a premium.
Yes.
So I said, what about startups like me? What are they doing? And that's how we started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we started.
And so where do you start? Having identified the need?
So having identified the need. Now, this is entrepreneurship 101 now.
Yeah.
So one lesson I've learned, it is more likely that you will succeed as an entrepreneur with no money than if you're fully funded.
Yes.
Because I'd been in a fully funded startup. When you're fully funded, what do? You throw money at every problem.
Yes.
So before you know it, you're burning through cash. Right? Before your revenues come in.
Yes.
And it doesn't really give you a proper grounding, if you know what I mean. But I think with this situation where, I was really bootstrapping it, and every day it was a problem, I had to figure out, how do I solve this problem? I don't have money. And a lot of it really just came down to even things like networks. So for example, even before I started the business, I used to tell people, I'm going to be opening an office very soon. And it will be a place where you can just walk in. It's plug and play. You don't have to spend money on rent. You don't have to spend money. I was solving their problem.
Yes.
This is before the office was opened. And actually, that's where my first customers came from. It was people who I had been speaking to. So the marketing, so to speak, was really me hitting the ground, telling as many people as I could, this is...
of your intent.
This is my intention. Although it made it sound as though it already existed.
Yes.
That guy who finds a problem here.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the solution, and he runs to the other side of the road. And
then he makes those things combine. Yeah.
So exactly.
Yes.
So in a sense, that's what I did. And it's funny because when we were just setting up I remember, I think we were laying the carpets.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, now this office is about to be ready. Where am I going to get customers from? There's a guy I had spoken to 6 months before. And he just showed up. He just said, I just got a deal for, I think he had just won the something to do with the census at the time.
Yes.
And he needed to set up a secretariat like the next week.
Okay.
And that was my first customer. He took up all my offices for 6 months.
Ian, do you think it's so interesting, because I think one of the things that we don't curate, and when I say we as Africans, I think we pay an extraordinarily heavy price for failure. Yet I think failure is a good thing
100%.
for entrepreneurs. I think it's important. I think Horizon now celebrating 17 years, it was important for you to do Popote Wireless and to burn your fingers and to fail, And I think that do you see value in your failures in charting what came next and how you were able to do it?
Oh yeah, and I talk about it a lot. I mean, I'm talking about it now.
Yes.
Because I just like to encourage people, anybody who's going through this journey, I like to encourage you. Do not be afraid to fail.
Yes.
In fact, what they say is, with failure, you know where you went wrong.
Yes.
What you need to do differently. With success, sometimes you may not even be sure.
Yes. What led to
what
success?
exactly makes this successful? But with failure, you have more certainty. So failure is the best lesson. I know at the time it doesn't feel good, but it's so important to keep going. And I know there are many of us out there who have gone through, and we were talking about one of our friends earlier.
Yes.
Who's been able to, consistently pick himself up and move on.
Yes.
So 100%. Failure is not something to be embarrassed about, to have shame about.
Yeah.
It's how you react to that failure.
True.
That is important. I think that's the way I look at it.
True.
Yeah.
So let's go back to this first office. Yeah. Where is it? How big is it? And what does it have that people are now able to come? And how did you determine what it should have? How many offices? Should there be a boardroom? Should there, all the metrics that you've probably now mastered? That time there was no template. Yeah, or maybe they were the international players. But how did you go about it? Such as you say, I'm going to get this type of office and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to design it like this and fit it out in this way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So there are many things that come into it. So to answer your question, we found it was a building that was under construction when I first saw it. Luther Plaza.
Yes. In the church compound there.
They called it the Holy Triangle.
Yes.
Plenty of blessings. It was surrounded by churches.
Yes. St. Andrews on this side, St. Paul's, exactly. And then Lutherans. Yeah.
So you start a business there, you should do well. There's a lot of prayers around there. So that's where we started.
Yeah.
And it was a good location. We thought, proximity to CBD, could walk, public transport, but still on the edge of town, a bit quiet. So we thought it was a perfect location. And it was, at least for the target that we were going for. Yes. And we were looking for startups at that time. In terms of how we put it together. Yeah. So as I said, I did a bit of research. But remember, I didn't have money.
Yes.
So it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to be actually able to put it together.
Yeah.
And this is where network comes in. So again, sharing my challenge with a friend, he said, "Oh, there's a guy who I think you should meet. He's a contractor. He's an interiors contractor, and he's the sort of person who he can give you payment terms. He can give you time to pay.
Okay.
If he's convinced in your idea." And there's some good people like that.
Yes, yeah.
And I think what it was is that he had materials which were sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
It was better for him to use them. So, to talk to this guy, he said, "Okay, this is what you can do. Pay me this amount, I guess, to cover the labor." And I actually did a very good job for me. He put up my first office.
Nice.
The one I told you about.
Yes.
So you see now, because I was fortunate, the prayers worked, and I got the clients quickly.
Yes.
Now I had an income, and I started paying him off. Actually, I paid him off faster than
he expected. He and you expected. Yeah.
So now the wing on the same floor that faced our office was available. So I went back to the landlord. I said, "I need more space." So the money I had been paid, I used it for that. So we expanded into
a secondary space.
A secondary space. And that is actually a very important point, because what happens with our business is you also have to have a critical mass.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point at which you're not profitable, and you need to scale up to a certain level
to be profitable.
Cover your fixed costs, and then now whatever you make after that, right? So a lot of these factors were also playing into our hands. I think the other thing which is important to mention is at that time, you remember this was around the time the Kibaki government was coming in, and one of the things that happened is that the banks were lending.
Yes.
And they were lending to businesses that had no track record.
Yes.
So some banks that would listen to ideas.
True.
So that was also, I think, for me, good timing.
From a timing perspective.
Yeah. That the time we were starting, the banks were listening. The irony is, 17 years later,
they're not.
With the track record that we have, with the fact that we have customers, unless I can give a title deed,
upload somewhere,
the banks are not going to lend me money.
Wow,
that's how difficult the environment has become.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
Actually, now that you mentioned that first office, I remember in my own entrepreneurial journey, coming to do a pitch in that Achama of women who used to meet there, I think on Saturdays or on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was in one of my capital raising journeys for one of my restaurant concepts. And I did do a pitch in that office. I came to see the ladies there, and they didn't give me money, but it was, as you mentioned, the office, I said, I was in that space. I worked in that space. Yeah, but you've now grown,
Yes. Actually, the business had good traction as far as customers were concerned. But remember, we're targeting a lot of startups.
Yes.
We were all in the struggle together. So I used to have a lot of challenges collecting rent.
Yes.
Because I was sympathetic.
They are fellow people.
They will say, we haven't been paid, or you know how it goes.
Yes.
And so it was difficult. It was difficult to sort of translate what the books were showing.
Yeah.
To what was in the bank, because we had such a big debtors list. Started thinking about what does this mean, and from a business perspective, because we need to grow.
Yeah.
And I started maybe taking a step back, and I think maybe that's where my corporate training
came in
handy. So we started thinking a bit more strategically, and started taking a broader view on the opportunity, and where looking at the market and looking at the different segments of the market, where was the money?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I always try to focus on when you're doing business. You have to have a very, very clear idea on where you can actually release value.
True.
So when we started realizing we've identified the need, there's a vibrant market segment here, but it's not necessarily the best one for us. Where is the money? And we said the money has got to be within the corporate sector.
Yes.
We have to now take on the big boys. We have to now start competing with some of the international players.
Yes.
And so we got a bit, aggressive, and we said, let's up our game.
Yeah.
Let's up our game. Let's look for additional funding.
Yes.
At that time, there was a bit of venture capital around. Actually, they looked for me. They came looking for me.
Wow, the capital
came looking for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't keen on it, but then I realized, if I'm really going to do this properly, then I do need to stick my neck out a bit. So we went through a process, and I have to say it was beneficial. It was painful but beneficial at the same time.
Yes.
And what we then said was, why don't we look at a growth strategy? And when we looked at the different options that were there were two things that we did differently. One was we said, let's, as I said, go for a more premium customer.
Mm-hmm.
But also let's take a Pan-African view.
Okay.
And my background had something to do with this, because in my corporate life, I had an opportunity to work across Africa.
Yes.
I'd actually lived in Ghana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Ghana, I also realized that Kenya, in many ways, is one or two steps ahead. The things that we are consuming, or we consumed, maybe 10, 15 years ago, is where the Ghanaians were at the time.
Yes.
So we put together a plan, and the plan said, let's create commercial hubs, or let's identify commercial hubs where we can set up our offices that will help connect African businessmen.
Yes.
Because one of the things I realize, and I still believe it very strongly today, is, Africa is not doing enough business
with itself. Agreed.
And what is the problem? If I said to you, Leonard, let's go and do business in Lagos now, what comes to your mind? You'll be a bit stuck.
Yeah. Yes.
First of all, you have to overcome your prejudices. You've been told,
it's not thinking chaos,
and it's, it couldn't be anything further from the truth. So when I shifted my mindset away from thinking about things at a certain level, and I sort of started thinking bigger, that's when things start happening. So we moved from Luther Plaza. We didn't close it immediately. We eventually closed it down, but we scaled up from there. And there was a new development coming up, 14 Riverside.
Yes.
Which was one of a kind, multi-use development, nice offices, a bit of retail, and of course the hotel.
Dusit, yeah.
And it wasn't easy getting in there, but we were very determined.
Wiggled your way in, yeah.
And we got in, and then we started competing, and we got our first corporate clients. Now, it's interesting because when you start thinking, okay, so this is where I want to go, one of those corporate clients who we set up an office for in Nairobi, I remember the guy who I dealt with, who's the global real estate guy, said to me, we're having a problem in Lagos. Do you have a presence in Lagos? I said, of course. What's your I said, what's your itinerary? When would you like to meet? And 2 weeks later, we had a meeting in Lagos. I had networks in Lagos, fortunately. Remember I told you I used to be...
Yes, from your corporate life.
Yeah. So I was able to quickly, figure out the lay of the land. And we pulled it off. And within 3 months, we had an office running in Lagos for the client. And that now meant we had now planted our flag in Lagos. And while I was in Lagos, because I had I'd actually lived in Accra, I went on a fact-finding mission, and I identified, there's actually an opportunity here. And 2 years later, we also opened in Accra.
Nice.
So now we were...
Three African countries.
We were fulfilling
your continental ambition.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's how it played out.
Okay.
And and you see what happens. This is why I find business so fascinating. It's about the first step. Where once you've taken the first step,
you're in it.
You're in, and then you begin to see where the second and the third step has to go.
Yeah.
And as long as you, I won't say you should not be reckless.
True.
But you should be courageous.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And you should also be measured in what you do.
Yeah.
And if you have also built strong networks, and strong networks is,
priceless.
Is priceless. And a network is, you're going to have good and bad networks. You may be going and along the way, you are burning bridges, you are breaking promises, lack of integrity. If you build a network that is built on integrity, that is your gold. That's where you get your
priceless.
It's priceless.
Yeah. So, what is interesting for me, and I like what you said about, I call it calculating courage. You're not reckless, but you calculate, and you learn more by doing than by planning.
Yes.
I've had young people in an entrepreneurial space who are like, can you look at my business plan? And I have a look at it, and I say, listen, this is a plan. And any plan can be made to read in whatever way you want it to read, But the real lesson is going to become from the doing.
100%.
Yes. So plan, yes, calculate and make an informed decision. It doesn't have to be 100%. You can say 60 to 70%, I can see where this is going. Then go in with the acknowledgement that the lessons will come from the doing and open your mind to that. And I think there'd be a lot of value. We were talking earlier before the podcast about the doers, the people who actually put their feet in and jump in, and they evolve. Yes. And that's business. So that I share that fascination about business myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you find yourself with 3 locations in 3 countries. But are you still in Lagos and in Accra?
We're not in Lagos, but we are in Accra. What happened was, our business has gone through 3 shocks.
Okay.
Let me put it that way.
Okay.
First shock was the double election, 2017, 2018. A lot of people don't appreciate the impact that had on business.
Okay.
You see, what is happening in Africa is business cycles go around political cycles, right? And particularly in our business, which is dependent on sort of short-term tenancies, where people, a lot of whom are international businesses, are constantly in a state of, review. Should they continue with their business? Are they scaling up? Should they renew? So businesses are always coming in and going out.
Okay.
So in the case of 2017, a lot of businesses, because also remember in the run up to an election, what happens is
people scale back and wait and see. Yeah.
So people scale back. So 6 months prior to the election, people have scaled back in anticipation of
election ending.
And then they start again.
Come back,
So that cycle was disrupted. 6 months prior, nothing. Election, it's not over. So people put their plans for the following year. So for 1 year, almost about a year and a half, nothing much was happening. Right? There was actually stagnation. So for businesses like ours, it affected us. Okay?
Yeah.
So that was 2017, 2018. 2019, I mentioned we had offices at 14 Riverside.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? January the 15th.
It happens. Yeah.
You remember what happened? Who would have thought you would have a terrorist attack?
Yes. Of that nature.
That makes you as an office a target. Leonard, I could show you the bullet holes in our office.
Wow.
They shot out my cameras. I had clients hiding, and it was crazy. In ducts where, these ducts where they keep all the firefighting equipment. Our neighbor downstairs, unfortunately, lost 1 or 2 staff.
Yes.
Very, 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 very devastating. So
Ken, who was on this podcast, Ken Joroge, they had their headquarters there, and they paid a heavy price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were deeply affected. Actually, that was our biggest office facility. Never recovered. It's closed.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a huge shock. So that was in 2019.
Yeah.
2020.
As if that's not enough, in comes the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yeah.
So in a business, what do? You have to, at one point, you have to consolidate. So we had to scale back. So what happened with in Nigeria, the clients all closed shop. Fortunately, our lease was coming to an end. So all we did is we just packed up our things. Actually, we just packed up our things and we moved our equipment to Ghana. And we said, let's consolidate in Ghana. Right decision at the time. I intend on going back to Nigeria when the time is right. We had a good run there. It's a lovely place to do business.
Yes.
Some of my best networks, I talked about networks, are there. And but in Ghana, we've continued, and that has gone well. But also Nairobi, in the meantime, has become very active. I think I think this is probably the most outside South Africa. This is the most developed market for real estate and for the sector that we're in. The co-working serviced office sector.
Yes.
So right now, those are the two hubs that we're in. But in Nairobi, we're also doing a few interesting things.
Yeah.
Which
so 4 locations in Nairobi now, and 1 in Ghana.
And 1 in Ghana. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, from a space where you are the first local, a kind of the pioneering local to come into the space. We now have a fair number of both local and international players.
We do.
So it has become quite a vibrant landscape. I draw a lot of parallels and similarities to my restaurant experience, where we have watched the evolution of Kenya's or Nairobi's first and ultimately Kenya's landscape. Yeah. And so it's It's
a good comparison. And actually it's interesting because when you talk about hospitality, there is actually in a sense a convergence of these two sectors.
Yes.
You find it is expected that a co-working space should also be able to provide you
yes. I've seen those partnerships evolving. Yeah.
But this whole thing of convergence, and also when you talk about what is coming in the future, what will the office of the future look like? I'll tell you another interesting one. The other aspect of work-life balance. So that also introduces things like, in addition to hospitality, look at something like wellness.
Yes.
So it's now expected that you should provide a space where people
wellness spaces within the office.
Whether it's a place to, for yoga, for meditation. In fact, in our office in Ghana, we had somebody who was operating a spa within the office environment. So somewhere where you could go and get a quick fix. Got a stiff neck.
Head massages.
Massage, sort you out. Or just a place to have a nap. The gyms, for example, Virgin Active, for example, is now offering meeting rooms and workspace within the gym. So you see, it's all coming together now. It's very interesting.
They become ecosystems as opposed to one solitary thing. Yeah. Okay, but here we are now. We're in the present, what actually, like I mentioned earlier, triggered me to invite you onto the podcast was a LinkedIn post that I saw you make.
Okay.
And you have ventured into the SEZ space.
Yes.
With your offices. So tell us a bit more about that. One, the thinking, because I'm really enjoying your evolutions, how you're seeing what's happening in the market and reacting to it. So what did you see that took you into SEZ and what exactly is it?
So, it's, we talk about strategy, right?
Yes.
And strategy is very important because, you sort of have to set some sort of parameters for you to run and grow your business. So we've always said we want to enable trade on the continent. And when we understood that there was an opportunity to be in what they refer to as a special economic zone, And all a special economic zone is, you're familiar with EPZ,
Yes. Yes.
right? It's an environment that provides a whole raft of incentives
Mm-hmm.
and makes it cost effective for businesses to operate. In the case of EPZ, it's manufacturing.
Yes.
In the case of SEZ, it's service oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So services, Kenya is very service oriented.
Yes.
Financial services, tech,
Advisory.
that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And these are entities that require our facilities.
Yes.
They need a work conducive space where we take the hassle away from them having to set up
Mm-hmm.
with the usual
Licensing, business, and all that. Yeah.
and the capital investment for an office, which is expensive and all that. Now, one of the requirements is in the special economic zone is you have to be domiciled there, which means you have to rent out space. It shows that you are committed. You also have to be able to show an ability to create jobs. So, for example, what's happening in the SEZ that we are in, the business process outsourcing industry is gravitating not just to Kenya,
yes,
but to the special economic zone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it presents a really exciting opportunity for this country.
Yes.
I don't know whether you know, Leonard, but where Kenya is potentially going to benefit. The largest hubs for business process outsourcing
Yes.
are actually out in the Philippines.
Yes.
Historically, it's been India, but Philippines of late has become quite a major
Hub.
employing about 1.6 million people.
What?
Imagine that. Yes. So a lot of the companies that have been domiciled there are saying they need a second hub. They need to diversify. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kenya is ticking so many boxes.
Yes.
If you can think about it that way.
What do those boxes look like?
Our people,
Okay.
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Educated, hardworking,
English
speaking. And of course we're blessed with that resource, as we all know, in Kenya. Okay. And they're also performing. Right. So the initial experience with some of these, they're very happy with the results. Okay. So what do they want to do? They want to bring more and more people.
Yeah.
And I think one of the good things that let's talk a few good things that are happening in the country.
Yeah.
Is the environment, the enabling environment has been created within these special economic zones, right? And we are part of it, and in our own way we're providing that enabling environment.
Okay.
Clients who, for example, want to get up and running tomorrow, it is possible.
Yes.
As long as they've complied with the licensing requirements.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not just giving people what do you call it, a job, but it's also giving people careers.
Yes.
So there's also an opportunity for guys because when you understand how this thing works, there's a value chain. So there are also some pretty high value jobs that are being created within these zones. For example, things like developers of apps.
Yes.
Those with the advent of artificial intelligence and so on and so forth, there's going to be a huge need for and Kenya is well poised for that.
There's a lot of knowledge transfer taking place. Yeah.
So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So specifically, you have spaces within the SEZ.
So we have what we did is under the Horizons brand, we've created a sub brand called One Space. One Space SEZ.
Okay.
which is registered with the authority. And then we have a facility. We basically occupy some space, and in that space, we've got we've configured the space into like what we do,
modular,
into different, depending on what you want. If it's you on your own, you can go in and have your office. If you've got a team of 6, or if you want to run maybe a proof of concept for a BPO, you can run it there, and we can provide you with spaces for up to 100 agents.
Wow!
So that's the kind of scale we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must be an interesting journey, even from a learning perspective, because that's now a totally new space that you're going through a journey of mastery of, in order to provide these services for the people who need them.
The interesting thing is the core product remains the same.
Yes.
And what I find fascinating about what we do is you're interacting with, to your point, with all kinds of different industries.
Yes.
And to serve them well, yes, you do need to
know what they're doing. Yeah.
So it's a constant learning experience as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's delve a bit into the future, because we're talking about you're talking about this ecosystem. In 17 years ago, when you're at Lutheran Plaza, I don't think yoga studios and gyms were anywhere in your mind space, but now they are things that you consider because of the evolution. So let's speak a bit about where do you see this segment heading into the future, and where do we sit as a nation, or as a country, or as a continent even, and where will we play in that landscape?
So there's a lot of conversations I've been having. I mean, on different forums about what is the future of work, because at the end of the day, what need do we serve, right?
Yes.
So we sort of have to look at work. How is work going to look? When we started our careers, then it was, I think motivated by the industrial revolution, where everybody had to, it was all about factories. It was almost like a factory.
Output.
And you all show up at the same time, and you all sit together, and departments, and
do the same work.
Same thing, repetition, and,
suit and tie.
Yeah. And not so many years later, you can see a lot of those norms have changed, right? And they say the change into the future is even going to be more dramatic.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that was very disruptive, which gives us a hint to what lies in the future, was the pandemic.
Yes.
Because with the pandemic, the whole thing around what they call remote working, people are working from home. You can work from home. You're at your house, me, I'm at my house, but we're the same company, and the job has been done. We're using, video calls, that kind of thing. So in a very short space of time, huge disruption. And, the world will never be the same again. So what we're seeing today is this thing called hybrid working. Where people said, wait a minute, I was actually quite productive. There's this pull and pull between the employer and the employee.
Yeah.
So the employer wants his workers, he wants his team.
Wants to see them.
But the guys are saying, no, especially, when you're dealing with Gen Zs, we haven't even dealt with the alphas who are coming through.
Yeah.
They're saying, no. We are able to work very efficiently wherever we are, and there has been a middle ground, which is called sort of a hybrid work environment, or working arrangement, which is where you can have a principal workspace, but then you're still able to work for most of the week at different locations, which has played into co-working, serviced offices, that kind of thing. But one thing that I am very engaged in at the moment is a role of technology.
Yes.
Because tech has to come into it. Yeah, tech is part of us now. So, what is the role of technology when it comes to how we work? So, there's a platform, for example, that there's a team I'm sort of involved in.
Yeah.
And it's basically giving you a tool where you can have access to flexible workspace off your phone.
Yes.
You're sitting here, Leonard, and you say, I want to work in Westlands this afternoon. And you should be able to go there and it will identify an office that you can rent for this afternoon. You book it now, pay with your M-Pesa.
Through the app.
Through the app, you show up.
Nice.
And off you go.
Very nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a meeting room. Right? Or a podcast studio, or whatever it is. So nothing really revolutionary in the sense that that's already happening in other sectors like hospitality, where you can go to Airbnb. So workspace is also going to be arranged and made conveniently accessible through applications like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Interesting, because even here, Semabox, who I have a relationship with because we have recorded our podcast here since its inception, is the same evolution, and again, driven by the pandemic, because during the pandemic is when podcasting, particularly in Kenya, but I also think globally, podcasting then took off because we had all this time, we were at home for a while. 6 to 7 months, we were all at home, all around the world, and podcasting took off.
Yeah.
And now you have this location that's a pay-as-you-go podcasting studio.
There you go.
You can go onto their website and say, I'll come here for an hour, and I'll record my podcast. They'll produce it for you and give it to you. So it's so interesting to see these interconnections.
Yes.
We are experiencing it in hospitality with the power of, on two fronts, with the power of the booking engines, for the hotel rooms, but at the same time, the delivery partners, for the delivery of food. And then there was a time 2 years ago, there was chatter about, is the traditional restaurant dead? But then we then started reconnecting with the social side of the restaurant. And people have said, no, people want to sit somewhere nice. And they still want. So even though delivery has become a thing, there's also acknowledgement that the socialization. And you see the same in the offices.
And people said, okay, you can work from home, but then it's lonely, right?
Yeah.
And we're social.
Yes.
And here we are talking,
Yeah.
and there's so much value in this conversation.
Yeah.
So I think, if anything, much as maybe the structure of the traditional office may be broken, I think it will reemerge as it will be reimagined as something else, where the work is happening, but people are also connecting. I think connection is going to become an increasingly important thing.
Yeah.
Then it's a question of how do you connect but still be productive. I think that's the middle ground that has to.
And
be
then
found.
A friend was giving an example of the value of peeping into the door of your colleague's office and say, "Hey, boss, I had this idea,"
yes.
And then there's value in that, which doesn't really replicate virtually. You can't quickly call the guy randomly and say, book a Zoom call. Hey, I had this idea, but in an office you can, or that social of our coffee. Hey, let's grab a quick coffee. I walk you through. And so there's all that. But it's really great to see. And what I really like about what you're doing, because I've evolved into a big champion of local context. Yeah. And I love stories of which you are one, or your horizon has evolved into one of taking international inspiration and building it with a very strong local or continental context. Because I think that's where the magic will happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's unstoppable. I mean, you can see what is happening on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wonderful how there's so much movement.
Yes. Yes.
And the prejudices that were there before, which I guess we were fed through the media that we were consuming.
Agreed.
then. Those are also been broken.
Yes.
But the African story, I think, is is such an exciting one, and I think about the future. This is the place to be.
Agreed. And I feel a lot of the right questions have been asked. I follow quite a few of the young like YouTube or Facebook influencers, and one of my favorites is Wodemaya from Ghana.
I know Wodemaya.
Yeah? You know him personally?
I've met him. I met him in Ghana.
Yes.
In fact, we first met I was introduced by a mutual friend at a meal.
Yes.
And then when he came to Kenya, he called me up.
Yes.
He did his Wodemaya thing on me. So actually, he came to the office and he told my story.
Excellent.
And we stayed in touch.
So what I like about him, and recently, I think this year and from last year, I started asking what I consider to be the right questions. And the questions he's asking is, why is it so hard to move between African countries? Why do we have this visa chaos? I'm Kenyan and I want to go to Togo. Or he's Ghanaian and he's moving just to his neighboring country. But there's all this visa drama. And I think when we start to ask these questions, they will ultimately influence policy and change. Yeah. I from a hospitality perspective, it was 2003 January, I think, when South Africa and Kenya mutually dropped their visa restrictions for each other. And if you're going to stay for 90 days or less to South Africa or South Africans coming to Kenya, you don't require a visa. And the data is phenomenal in terms of how the inter-country tourism has grown. South Africans choosing to holiday in Mombasa and in various parts of Nairobi, or just coming for a weekend to enjoy nightlife, partying, clubbing, and so on. And Kenyans heading down to Cape Town, heading down to Joburg to just family getaways a week. And that is phenomenal. And I think that is the potential.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, my own experience is when the visa restrictions were lifted, you realize that actually if you plan and you travel to Joburg and just Johannesburg for a weekend,
yes,
it's actually cheaper than being in Nairobi.
Yep.
Which is another story altogether.
Yes.
But the opening of doors, I look at it that way. When the door is closed, you don't think, should I go through that door? Chances are you do something else. But as the door is open, it's welcoming.
Yeah.
We have to open our doors.
Yes.
And this is in our interests.
Yes.
And as you say, we have to start talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And opening of doors, I think, is the precursor to opening up of minds.
Yes.
Because like you say, I have not been fortunate enough to go to Lagos. I'd love to go, but I know I must be carrying some subconscious biases about Lagos that will be debunked once I go there.
Yes.
And Kenyans going to South Africa socially, not for a work trip or with their family, then you start to open up. And I'm sure in meeting some South Africans there, they do change some minds. So it's a two-way street. Yes. And then we start to explore all these options. So what I like about what you brought up is the unstoppable nature of it. I think it's a tsunami.
Yeah,
I don't think you can put this horse back in the stable. This one has bolted and it's out there and it will now evolve and continue to evolve.
We're the same people at the end of the day. You go there, you find, I found myself sitting down watching football. It's a pub somewhere. And I forget that I'm not in Nairobi.
Yeah.
At one point you forget.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a thing of beauty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ian, we've talked a lot and you've dabbled in many things. So maybe as we can now just talk a bit about you have a wealth of hospitality, of entrepreneurial African entrepreneurial experiences. So maybe we can spend the last few minutes that we have just talking about some of the other things that you're dabbling in, whether related or unrelated to Horizon, and where you see, I think we've established that we share a mutual love and potential for this continent and what it can become. And we are contributing to it, us taking our place, our rightful place on the global stage. So maybe we can hear about a few of the things that you have in store for us into the future.
Or that I've done.
Oh yeah, that you have either done or are planning to do.
Look,
yeah.
I call myself a serial entrepreneur. In fact, I think one of the disciplines is to stay focused.
Yes.
If it was possible, I think I would do so many things. My background was in marketing.
Yes.
Right. Brand management. Best career as far as, at least for me, because what did it do? It taught me how to sort of get to the heart of the matter. What drives everything is a need or a problem that you're solving, right? And once you identify that, half the job is done, because it's now about figuring out, how do I solve that profitably?
Yes.
And so I think with that sort of awareness sort of drummed into my DNA, I see opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, for example, during the pandemic, and this might amuse you.
Yeah.
I set up a dark kitchen.
Okay.
Interesting.
I know
what a dark
of course,
kitchen is.
yes, that's my space. Yeah, that's my world.
I do that to get your attention.
Yeah.
And that was just an opportunity. So somebody somewhere said, come and see this setup. There's a guy who has some kitchen equipment, and he is not able to sustain the rent. Are you interested? I said, I never say no to an opportunity. Let me come and have a look. So when we looked at it, we said, oh, wait a minute. This works very well for guys who are, because with the pandemic, what were we doing? We were doing deliveries, right?
Yes.
So people could not go to a restaurant. So all you needed to do was to have a place where you could prepare the meal and then dispatch it. So I didn't go into cooking, because I know my business is not cooking. But I saw it as an extension to what I do as a service office provider.
Yes.
So what I did is I partitioned it into about 3-4 units, and I identified fast food chains that wanted to cut their costs during the pandemic, and I rented it out to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that was a project that we put together in about 3-4 months.
Yes.
I walked away from it.
Yes.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I realized, no, let me just go back and focus on So look, I know why you're asking me this. I think we just want, as we're talking, is just to share stories about how important it is just to do.
Yes.
Just do.
Yeah. And
if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You can move on to the next thing. Something will eventually work.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of consulting work. One of the things I've been conscious of is that I never really got to practice what I studied.
Okay.
So I have a degree in agricultural and food marketing. It's basically a marketing for foods at every level.
Okay.
At a micro level and at a macro level.
Nice.
And there was a project I was brought on board as a consultant, where we were working with tertiary institutions in Ghana with their faculties of agriculture, when we were helping them to figure out how to enrich the curriculum for agribusiness.
Okay.
So it's just helping them to make a connection between what they were learning and the real world.
Excellent.
Yes.
So
I can go on and on.
Yeah, no, Ian, first of all, allow me
Yeah.
to celebrate you. Allow me to celebrate this lifetime of doing, because you're still doing, and you're doing very interesting things. And I think that's what we're about on this podcast. So allow me to give you your flowers in your presence
you.
and say, I
And
think
thanks for the
keep
conversation.
on doing.
Yeah.
But I think I'll now give you a chance to just tell the audience about Horizon and where they can find you,
Sure.
one space, as we wrap up this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leonard.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating 17 years in Kenya. Much as we are Pan-African, I think our roots, we were deeply rooted in Kenya. Now, what we have done is focused on the Westlands area, and it's simple. We have a target market. We can't cater for everybody. But what we are finding is that Westlands is it's a very vibrant area, convenient to get to. We've got, as I mentioned, the 4 locations. We're at Riverside Park. Riverside Park is ICA, where ICA have their offices. 2 beautiful buildings. You can't miss them. And in those offices, we've got a combination of service offices. So if you want a private office for yourself, or if you want a flexible space where you can come in and work, on an hourly basis, a daily basis, a monthly basis. We've really, really, really put a lot of sort of love and energy into creating a homely environment. We refer to ourselves as a home to Africa's business.
Okay.
So you'll come in there. The first thing that you'll find is that you'll be welcomed with an aroma of coffee.
Nice.
And we source coffee from a selection of farms. We work with a partner who features different coffees from different farms every quarter.
Nice.
Freshly roasted and ground, and I think it's worth even just coming to say hi. I'll offer you a cup of coffee and see what we have to offer there. We're also at the Western Towers, and there, as I said, we are catering for some of the business process outsourcing people.
Yep.
So we've got a pretty big operation there, and then in the address is just as you approach ABC. In fact, the address will soon be opening a really interesting. It's almost like an indoor space for co-working.
Nice.
It's a huge veranda, encased in glass, so natural light and plants, and there's a nice sort of coffee vibe going on there.
Nice.
So it's also an event space, and we'll be advertising more about that. And then the special economic zone, and don't be discouraged. It's not something that should keep people away. It's open for business. So if you want to come and have a look, and the special economic zone, I think, is something Kenyans need to be sort of encouraged to engage with. Yeah, because what it does, it also gives you a very low cost base to participate in the export market.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Even this BPO thing that we're talking about, it doesn't stop Kenyans from setting up BPOs here. Because what's happening is the Americans, the Indians, the people from out there,
yes,
are the ones coming to set up in Kenya,
yes,
employing Kenyans.
Yes.
Why don't we do it ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can take a seat at that table.
We can take a seat at that table. So please do reach out. I'm available. We're horizonsoffices.com. Please reach out to us. Please engage with me, and come with us, and let's just do.
Excellent. Excellent. Ian, thank you very much for a fascinating conversation on your business exploits, and we wish you and Horizon Offices all the very best into the future.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 35 of the African Do podcast, where we tell stories of excellent Africans executing excellently. So thank you very much, and see you in the next episode.